Hello, viewers. Good morning and welcome to Tech Simplified TV. And a very warm welcome to the Semiconductor Podcast. We are back with another exciting episode. And today, our esteemed guest is Mr. Kishore MMC. He has a proven track record of 30 years in technical world. He is a entrepreneur and a renowned tech leader, founder and CEO of Global Management Services. His experience is very valuable for us. So today we have invited him, and in spite of his busy schedule, he has he has make some time for us. So we want to welcome him. Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation. And we know that you have a very busy schedule. Among that, you want to spend some time with us. Thank you very much for that. Welcome to Tech Simplified TV and TSP.
Yeah, thank you, Munmun. Thanks for the introduction, but I just want to make a small correction. The company is called Global Marketing Services instead of Global
Sorry,
Management Services.
marketing
That's
services. Yes.
okay.
And
Yes.
your website, I have seen, that's amazing. So many types of products are there you deal with. I mean, how you manage so many products. I have seen it's a full-fledged big websites list of products, and you are doing this for 24 years. It's been a long journey, lots of experience. You have seen how the ecosystem today we are with support of India Semiconductor Mission chip to startup. But when you started, the days were not like that easy. It was less known path. How you navigated, that's a really inspiring story. Must be, we want to know how you started GMS and how everything shaped up.
Yeah, sure. I think that's a very interesting question. Uh, well, before starting this company, I had about 6 years of prior experience in a different company, and I fell in love of the technology. The first thing is, you can only succeed when you love what you do. So that's the first stuff. And second thing is that after this, I had an opportunity to work in Silicon Valley in the US for 1 year, so which gave me a lot more exposure to the markets and the customer base out there. So with that, in 2001, I decided to start off global marketing services. At that point of time, semiconductors was a very, very niche segment, and it was just about a few. You can count the number of people working in the segment on your fingers. So, and this segment was typically driven by, I would say a group of people in the supply chain who actually had the connections outside and who can kind of, you know, uh, facilitate this segment from the connections that they had outside India. And I felt that, there was a lot of room for improvement, especially people, a semiconductor is a piece of electronic device. As you increasing the volumes, the margins come reducing, and the cost is the biggest factor in terms of success. So this was when we were discussing with customers. This is one of the pain points that they were talking about, the cost that they were paying and the kind of a supply, the connections that they need. If they have any specific problems, so they don't know where to go out to, and that time internet is not a luxury or and available to everybody. It was only people. It was more of a luxury stuff, and so with the knowledge that we had, and we could have to work with those connections. So I said, I think it's a good time to start something and support the Indian semiconductor domain, which I call. I don't call it as an industry at that time. It was more of a technical domain, and that was what we supported it. There were, in the in between 2000 and 2025, there were waves where government was supporting the semiconductor manufacturing. It came and went, but there were a lot of discussions and people trying to set up manufacturing in India, but nothing really worked. But I think in starting from 2021, I think the scenario has changed and there's a significant support from the government of India, and
Mm,
that's where we see a lot more development happening right now. Yep, that's about
mm,
my the reason why I founded it and where I see today.
mm. Yes, sir. And how were the days when you started? I mean, not everyone will venture out in such a when only domain people you can count on your fingers. So, I mean, how you gathered that courage? Is it just only age? You are so young, and uh, when we are young, we take more risk, isn't it? We are adventurous. Is it only that, or just passion, adventure? I mean, looking for adventure, everything mixed together. It's not easy today for us. Situation when we started, I started in 2010, situation was much better. When you started, it was really really tough, very tough.
Yeah, I consider business as a solution rather than a kind of a monetizing what you know. Okay, so when we are providing a solution, it's about and trying to connect with people with the same solution, and that's where you try to support the industry with the problems that they have and solve those things. So you always look at it from a problem statement, look at it, see what is the solution you have, and then you pitch in what you have. So yeah, that's what I was as an industry having about 7 years of experience. Where I was looking at what are the problems they have and what are the solutions that I can provide. And I think
Hmm.
that was the key factor of trying to connect with customers and able to solve what their issues are, and then finding the right partners for them, right supplies for them was the key for us. And today, I mean, we probably are considered one a kind of a shop where they can try and find a solution which they don't find anywhere else. So that's the success what we have tried to build. So
Okay. So GMS service, I mean, your company provide a lot of solutions like and across wide range of sectors like semiconductor, EV, batteries, MEMS, LDDs. I mean, there are so many diversification. How you manage so many? One, and over the years, it's probably you have keep on added products and domains.
yes, Munmun, I think see one is that the diversification of the products has not
Mm,
diversified the application of what it has been doing. Today, whether you talk about microelectronics, semiconductors, LEDs, MEMS, all this stuff are all related to semiconductor manufacturing. All these devices uses semiconductor processes. The only thing that EV batteries look a different segment, but eventually EV batteries is also being are manufactured using semiconductor technology, especially the technology called wire bonding, which is used in the semiconductor and has come from a semiconductor background, and that is being implemented today in making batteries. And this technology is not something that has started in India, but it was actually patented by Tesla. This technology was patented by Tesla, and that's where people have adapted that. And you see that it's gaining a very good traction in India because India is also emphasizing to manufacture batteries in India for, and there's a huge market in this. So whatever we have done is we have done in the landscape within the semiconductor domain and supporting those things.
so for last 2 decades, how you where we you are now in terms of reach, partnership, and capabilities? I mean, you have obviously you have age compared to your competitors. What are those ages where you are better than your competitors?
So as I mentioned earlier, the first thing is always hunger to understand and try and kind of work with the customers and understand what their needs are. When we started off, it was semiconductors alone. And as you try and understand where the processes are adapted in the different domains, like as I said, MEMS. In 2001, I don't think anybody knew even what is MEMS or MEMS. So people were trying to look at what are the solutions, what are the things that they could look at. And we were able to understand that better than the rest of the guys. And we were able to connect with the partners across Europe and US and trying to provide them the solutions to that. And that is where the experience comes in and the knowledge comes in. So when you have the understanding of the process and you know where to go and what is the solution you can get. And in India, the market is always looking at somebody who has already developed or done something as an experience. They will always look for such kind of partners. They won't try something new with a new partner. So it's always that was the added advantage for us, and which really brought us into the front ahead of others today.
Okay. So, what are your core offerings for semiconductor and microelectronics industries?
In a broad spectrum, our core offerings are the equipment and materials and the services, especially I would say we call more onto we call it front end and back end. Front end is which is basically we are bringing a wafer to a bare wafer to a semiconductor processed wafer, and back end is something where you take a processed wafer into a package which every common man would see and buy it from the market. So these are the two segments that we focus on, and we have been able to align such people with such companies who are into this spectrum of front end and back end, and with that we pretty much support the domains that we talked about.
And since all your services, you are collaborated with international partners and technologies to bring to India. So maintaining time must be a very crucial thing when you are communicating with international partners. How you manage this thing?
Okay, I mean, I think I mean, hardly I wouldn't find that very difficult, but when you really need something, you don't get sleep. You really when you need something, it doesn't allow you to sleep. So you always have to worry about whatever time it is and making connections. I remember those days where I have never slept, trying to work with a partner in US, and at 3:30 in the morning he was trying to say, what are you doing here at this hour? So I said, I'm looking at this for this. I need your help, and he was very gracious to help me out. And I actually worked on a very, very long partnership with him. Of course, he retired now, and he was quite. We worked for a long, long time, developed the market here for these guys, and yeah, that's how it is. I think when there is a need, that drives your motivation, and I don't think time is really a constraint there.
And some key technologies solutions you have provided to Indian market. Can you mention some?
So there are several, but some of the things that I can talk about today, I am probably the largest provider of space grade solar cells to the Indian space programs. And these cells have really flown in Chandrayaan and Lander and those kind of projects. And we started developing this market and this product way back in 2007 8. And initially we were underdogs in this supply chain, but we developed the technology was developed in accordance with the customers. Of course, it's not me who developed it; it's our partners in Germany that they worked out and ensured that they understood what the customers' needs and demands are here. In fact, some of the processes were even learned from the Indian customers and implemented in Germany, and finally they had to, and they eventually have customers outside Europe, and where they were able to take the knowledge from the Indian scientists and build a product which is a standard product in the world today, and is being also being offered to customers outside US. And those kind of products are being offered to Indian customers, and we are the number one supplier in the world today for such kind of products.
So just listening to your answer, one thing came into my mind that now facilities are getting built up in our country. So is it possible that the kind of our Indian scientists, what they are doing, the kind of work they are doing, based on that product is developed in India and not in other country, and then spread over or shipped over across world? Is it possible? Is scenario? I mean, technology initially developed by Indian scientists that has been developed in um, for production in European country and came back to India again for usage. So whole system, whole supply chain can be completed in India. Is it possible in near future?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't see any reason for not happening it. It is just that the infrastructure has to support such kind of endeavor. Typically, what I see in India, people try and look for something which is, I mean, which is going to give them a quick return. And semiconductor is not that business where you can expect quick returns. There's a huge capex investment, and ROI is going to take some time. But absolutely, I don't see any reason why India cannot make this. Uh, and we guys are equally talented as the rest of the world is. It's just that we are working and trying to work up the ladder in a capex intensive market.
Okay. And you are working with IISc and DRDO and ISRO. So how they are different in terms of, I mean, dealing with your, I mean, what difference you find when you deal with a corporate and government owned institute, premier institute like DRDO, ISRO, IISc approach, or anything else you found difference? Any difference you find?
Yes, I mean, in the government sector, especially, which is government funded institutes and so on, the buyers of these materials or equipment do the entire job what the corporate does. Identify to sourcing is done by one person. So, where you do identify your need, going and tracking to a vendor, trying to discuss with them, so understand how it works for him, and trying to make the process to acquire it, and then install it and run it and do everything is done by one person. The responsibility lies in one person. Whereas in a corporate, the entire process is divided against different departments, right? And so from a government employee or a government researcher, the objective is to ensure that he knows what he wants, and he knows what to get, and he knows how to get it. So all that thing is done by him. Whereas in corporate, there is, of course, there are departments also in the government department, but the people responsibilities are changing. So he tells you something, and he gets that, and then finally somebody else is placing an order, and so on. So what happens is your core requirement gets diluted over when you try to move from one department to another department.
Hmm.
So you're looking at, so what I would say is, uh, you have a specific need, and you're looking at trying to get that specific need, and you understand the entire process, 360-degree view of that product that you are getting. In the government department, in corporate, there are other things that are tagged on: cost, value, ROI, everything. And then your focus on what you want will get lost, and then you try to get something. That's okay. I mean, everybody will do that, but I feel that's the difference. But yeah, in for a government department, more it is about product and how to get it done. and from a corporate it is trying to do it in numbers and trying to do it at cost effective. So both have different views. That's the difference here.
And right now, are you working with any OSAT or any initiative developing fab? I mean, under this India Semiconductor Mission, are you connected with any?
Yes, we are connected and we are working with the upcoming OSATs. As I told you, I mean, all these OSATs or anybody are trying to look at kind of a domain experienced players. You know, you are, of course, I mean, they're investing money, so they always look for security,
Mm.
right? So we have played majority in the last 20, 24 years or 20 years before the OSATs could come in. We're working with government people, and their needs and demands are different. And you give them a proper manufacturing equipment to a government agency, they say, well, I'm not doing any manufacturing. I don't need this tool. So they're looking at more versatile tools, whereas OSATs need something that they can do the same thing in daily basis in multiples of thousands and millions. So that's where it is. So we are not really geared up at that point of time, but we are trying to build partnerships with this kind of people. But the knowledge that we have, whether be it government or OSATs, we have the knowledge, and we're working with those guys. And I think today there's a lot of Japanese companies that are trying to approach us and trying to make connections with us so that we can reach them to the OSATs, the upcoming OSATs. So yeah, that's
In India, this sector is booming a little bit later. When rest of the Europe, US, Japan, Taiwan, Singapore, they started their journey quite early, and most of the things are since the ecosystem is built already, grown ecosystem is there, so things are coming from there. So when you are managing Indian customers and supplying them with product, tools, and many services, and you you are a bridge between the foreign companies and customers in India. So, do you find there is a knowledge gap, and how you address it? Because you are the intermediate stage and you have experience of almost 30 years, 24 years, you are running your own company in this market. So, how you bridge this? I mean, train the customer is also, I think, has become in your portfolio now, that make them also understand what should be the good thing for them or best solution for them. So you are also working on that role.
yes. I mean that's a constant endeavor, right? I mean everybody is trying to, whether be it a small company or a big company, everybody wants to upgrade themselves to a newer technology. And the private companies have a better edge because they have a lot more internationally exposed personalities in their companies, and they bring in their own perspective, and they have their own domain experience and so on. But let's look at MSMEs, which is the biggest, strongest foundation of India, which, and these people do not have that kind of access to those kind of people. You can talk about corporates having, they can bring in people from US, Malaysia, Vietnam, well, well established ecosystem places. They can bring in their experience. And how many of them you can actually bring in? You're having today. We are talking about major 4 or 5 companies, and there I don't think they're going to able to service the entire demand of the world. So the MSMEs will play a big role, and these people have limited budgets and so on, and the knowledge that we have, certainly we can support them in their way into and make them grow into the segment.
When you are scaling the business of GMS in India, what challenges you faced in that phase?
Wow, that's a ever ever living problem all the time. So the biggest challenge is trying to find a person when you are growing, you need people, And when you're looking for people, you don't find anybody who knows the knowledge of semiconductors in this market because it's not existing at all. Today, we have to hire them, train them, teach them what it is, you know, and takes anywhere between, depending on the person that trying to bring in, it takes anywhere from 2 to 3 years before he understands the entire ecosystem. And at the end of the third year, he's probably quite knowledgeable at of the market and what's happening, and he's able to feel what he can participate into the market. And by that time, he's already a well ripe fruit for anybody to buy. And then if we lose such kind of people, and then we have to start again. So
Uh,
this is a never living problem. So when, there's no solution to that. So what we are trying decided is that we also start skill development in this ourselves. So today we are doing skill development programs where hire we are not only trained for us, we also train for the industry, upcoming industry. So if you don't get it, you actually grow it in the internally. So that's what we're trying to do.
And sir, if you don't mind to share, how many, how big your team is right now?
We are fluctuating between 16 and 18 people.
Okay. Okay. Always someone is leaving and joining. Okay, understood. And there is there you when you work with your both the end, supplying from outside company and working with Indian customers, do you find logistical and infrastructural in limitation in India, especially
Can
with
you
sophisticated equipment from outside? You are importing them. Do you find any kind of challenge like logistical or infrastructural limitation in India?
Yeah, absolutely. Any of this, I can tell you some instances.
Mhm.
There is a demand from the Indian customers, but you have to go through the Indian freights. What do you call? Tra- you know, Freight companies and customs, Indian customs, and these people do not understand what they're handling. Okay, so we have lost materials, and there are some which are materials cannot be opened in open air, and they ask us to open that, and they want us to show what is there in the box. So we tell them that you cannot open it, and if you open it, it is just useless for the customer. They say it doesn't matter. We want to see what is inside. And semiconductor materials are
They
highly sensitive to
yes.
the environment. And sometimes they don't even ask us. They just open the box. They don't know how to op- lock the box again, and they bring it to our office. We see them in broken pieces. So, and today OSAT we are talking about OSATs, and I've been talking to the ministry and associations and all these people. Gold import is not allowed in India, and gold is one of the key component that is used. Gold bonding wire is required by every OSAT,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a restricted item. You tell me how many people have that strength and might to go and get a permission to getting a 1 lakh rupee gold wire in this country. So this is the practical difficulties that people face and trying to work in this domain.
So, as much I understood from your words that right now the situation for there should be some policy regarding importing semiconductor ecosystem related products and materials, and policy change is required right now.
Absolutely. I mean, it is. You need to understand what the ground reality is, and
Yes.
implement those things rather than trying to look at reports and making decisions. I would say, even I do have a small packaging facility, and I have customers who are asking me, "Can you give me gold wire?" I mean, I say, sorry, your dealers, you have a gold import license. I cannot supply you gold wire.
Okay. So, have
And
you conveyed your message because you have huge experience? You understand the ground reality. Have you conveyed the your message to the policymakers by any way? You got
yeah, I
chance?
mean, in every forum we can talk about it. We've been,
Okay.
as I'm part of a member of IISc, I'm
Mm-hmm.
member of LCNA. I've
Mm.
been telling them, and I've put in representations and so on. But
Mm.
we kind of wait for every budget to happen. But I know for them, the value is too small for them to look at it, because you have other bigger issues to solve, and the gold war is probably not it's not something which will really come up to the top of the table. But that's an underlying problem. Without that, nothing happens, right? That small
So,
tiny things so block the industry.
so how this problem is solved? How you get the that gold for used in the process?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, everybody has their own ways to bring things out here, and some people carry it, some people do something. But I don't want to talk too much about it on this forum here. But yeah, but that's a real problem, and we need to find solutions to that.
Yeah. Hmm. Because I think demand will increase with time. The situation,
Absolutely.
I mean, because if the ecosystem is increasing, so demand will increase. And what you see, there is a gap in awareness. Still, not many people aware about semiconductor industry. The kind of popularity of IT industry has in common mind across India. Semiconductor industry is not that much popular. Actually, people doesn't know about it. They don't know. We cannot blame them. It's a very niche subject and very specialized subject, so it's not really understandable for everyone. So in such situation, how much technical readiness we have? We are in a journey to make the ecosystem bigger. Readiness, in terms of readiness, how much mark will you give to our country?
In terms of readiness, it's a different story, but I think there's a significant effort done by the government right now in terms of skill development and trying to get it to the grassroots level. They're trying to bring in, as part of the engineering course curriculum and building the infrastructure. In the past, even those course was there as a VLSI and this and the electronics undergrad program, but people were not given the kind of experience and in a lab experience to work on it. It was more theoretical oriented subject, and after that, people were typically driven towards design. VLSI design companies. That was the companies that are existing in India, and they learn how to do design on standard software like Synopsys and Cadence and so on, and try to get jobs in India. But since there were no manufacturing jobs, people didn't look at it. But today, manufacturing is the need of the hour, and government is trying to put that initiative with different IITs, and there are a lot of online programs.
Hmm.
There's a learning platform, which was totally not existing even before COVID, or even I would say before 2 years, people didn't even hear such a course.
Hmm.
And today there are quite a number of courses which are available online, and people are, and private universities and everybody are trying to gear up to that, offering such kind of solutions. And those sides are also trying to pitch in from their side, trying to put some money into educational institutions and trying to build that skill in the country. So I think it's going to take some time. It's not something that is not going to happen in 1 or 2 years. It's a gradual time that people will get to know that. I believe in the next 3 to 4 years, before the major thing starts happening here in India, I'm sure that we will be geared up with the required talents in India.
There are so many emerging sectors. Personally, you are most excited about which one, like quantum computing, compound semiconductors, carbide or gallium nitride products, and photonics? These are completely different aspects. So, which you think, you are most excited about?
I think that the core is the semiconductor, whether you build quantum computing or silicon photonics or you're doing silicon carbide, the foundation is semiconductor. Uh, so what you deal with is different materials, but the way you process them to make specific devices are different. So the underlying is the semiconductor process, which is the front end and back end. So I would focus on my core, which can support all these industries.
And a lot of demand coming for EVs and AI, smart devices. So how you are preparing already in the sector of EV, and how you are gearing up for coming demands?
Yeah, see, I mean, in India, I would say India is more at a user level right now in AI and in design and so on. So all these chipsets or whatever is required for AI, and people talk like NVIDIA. NVIDIA themselves do not have a semiconductor fab. They go to companies like TSMC and fab it out. So, so I think India is very good in terms of those, in terms of design. And I believe some of the fabs that like Tata and other fabs come into India and they're able to manufacture such kind of top end devices. I think is probably requiring less than 14 nanometer or 7 nanometer technologies. And we are able to bring this kind of fabs into this country. I'm sure that we are able to do catch up in terms of the hardware. Uh, but in terms of the in terms of AI, is already there, and I think people are working on it and trying to support the in their own way to the world AI demands that are coming from various coming up from the various domains required. So yeah, but in terms of manufacturing, I think it's we are not there yet. But I think once some of the fabs come up and put up this best, some of the top end fabs here in India, I'm sure that we can build the hardware.
You said you have a small packaging facility. You said so. Are you working with any academic institute or startup till yet? Have you worked?
Yeah, that's our primary goal. I think we are trying to support those kind of startups and educational institutions because that's where the knowledge is being coming from, and they have a lot of innovative ideas because they've come up with ideas, then they try to do a proof of development, a proof of concept in their own labs, and so on. And when it comes to packaging, there are hardly any places where they can go to and ask them to wire bond or do the packaging. Typically, all the bigger companies look for long-term contracts or long-term or high-volume stuff. And when people come back to and say, "I need only these two devices. I want to test it. I want to do something," there are hardly any people in the market who can do that, and that's where we give them access. We don't work like as just a service provider. We invite them to our lab. They work with us. They see, understand the issues, and then they take it back. They do the redesign and come back and then work with it. And that's the way, that's the approach. It is. We don't work at as a kind of a purely commercial, but we also look at it as in terms of educating the customer and see understand why he has to do it, what is the changes he has to do to get a better device, and so on. That's how we work. And I think that's a very unique solution that we offer, with which nobody else offers.
Collaborative, much more
Exactly.
collaborative approach. You
Absolutely.
and are you planning to expand into component manufacturing?
No, that's not a part of our lookout because there are a lot of the other people who can do better than us. So we don't want to get into manufacturing, but our intent is always to support the manufacturing with our
Okay.
supply chain partners.
So now, I mean, where you want to see your company, your GMS, in coming 5 to 10 years?
Well, I have my next generation stepped in already, and my son has started getting into the business and he's looking into it. So my vision is to always be a kind of source of information, the knowledge that people can look for us to gain to solve their problems. So we are not looking at comparing it and trying to say we have to monetize everything and try to grow $1 million, $1 billion company. But I look at it from a service industry, as we need to support those clients and make sure that we are able to bring in a lot more MSMEs participating into this field and support them and grow them so that every tiny dot of spot, drop of water makes an ocean. So we want to create that kind of MSMEs that which can really participate in a big way into the segment.
Okay, so congratulations, your next generation has entered in your business. It's really, I mean, legacy should be carry forwarded. He is in that way. Congratulations and best of luck to congratulations to you and best of luck to him, because we need institutions and organizations who has rich experience like this, because it's very crucial time for our country. And one comment came from one of our viewer, Mr. Sharma. Thank you for your comment. And it's our we are really delighted that sir has agreed to come to our platform. It's always good that we get guidance from our seniors. It's very needed for us. So from your side also, this thank you goes to sir.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
very much
much.
for.
Thank you, and just hosting me for on this platform. And I'm sure that I've made some difference to the
Yeah,
community
sure,
here.
sir. Sure, your experience and this time is perfect for. I mean, if you share this with us, we get enlightened. So, and the way you are seeing in coming 5 years, where or 10 years, where you think India will go in globally, its position.
I mean, I think this particular process, what we are doing today, if it continues the way we are trying to, government is trying to support, incentivize, and doing things, and I think what I understand is this is the best incentive plan that you can get anywhere in the world today. And I think our bureaucrats and the government have worked out a very good system and policies and things. I think it's the best time that you can think. And if this continues to support and do our people, I'm sure that India will be very, very well marked on the world map for semiconductors.
So we will not behind. I mean, within 5 to 10 years, we can catch up with others. I mean, we can
Absolutely. I
grow
mean,
faster and be in the
I think
competition with them.
you are at a very, very right time and working at it. And the government, the economy is growing, and the demand for Indian market is there. So there is no to look back and saying, okay, we lost something. That's okay. We are lost is lost. But I think the opportunity is ahead, and we
Yes,
need to
yes,
see how
yes.
we look at the opportunity today. And I'm support. I think if when somebody is trying to pat your back and say, please go ahead and do it, we'll support you. I think there's nothing should stopping us. And I'm saying there is nothing left behind to be worried about, saying that we're going to go back. There's only thing is going front. So I think there's a huge potential and an opportunity ahead of us, and I think the support is there. I think in the next 5 to 10 years, I would say a global player from India that we would be doing, and probably some of the leading technologies would certainly come up from India. Today, technology, in terms of technology roadmap, we people consider maybe we are 20 years behind. But if you look at 10 years ahead of us, I think that gap will reduce significantly and we probably be at par with the world.
Mm. And sir, you are leading your company. So, what is your actually leadership value? I mean, what is your philosophy to lead?
As you said, lead, right? I'm not, we always want to create people who can be the next leaders. And so that's my philosophy. It's not about me, it is about we. How I can only have a confined or a definite area that I can cover. But when you create leaders, I think they can impact even better and bigger areas. So, and that is where I would say that my philosophy is always trying to create leaders, and they so that they bring in their own values and they bring in their own knowledge and support the segment in a in the required way, whatever it is. So
Okay. Share one of your proudest moment in while you are working leading your GMS.
then plenty of them, but the most proudest moment is, some of my employees come back and say, "Sir, when we go to our customers and talk to them, you know, they already know GMS. They say, and they already been working with you and been talking about it. And so today they come back and tell me, a kind of the way GMS is represented in the market. So they say, today, once upon a time, we were trying to find people. We were difficult to find people. Today, people are willing to come and say, okay, we want to join you. Please look at that. So that's a kind of a strong acknowledgement as to what we have done. Some people today, people they say, sir, what you've been teaching, what I see your ex people who are doing and doing what they're doing, I think that's motivating us to come and join you. And I feel that's the biggest satisfaction that I have. I don't really value it in terms of money, but it in terms of the value that you brought into the market.
Okay. Sir, almost we have completed our list of questions. Now, finally, I want to know, what advice should you give to the young entrepreneurs who are entering or thinking to start their startups, and those who want to enter the industry as an engineer? Your suggestion.
I mean, I think the first thing is not to look at it from a point of what is that you're going to make. Everybody wants to become a unicorn, and saying that I want to build $1 billion, so many billions of dollars. I think that is not the point that you need to look at. I look at it in terms of what is the value that you're bringing in, and what is the knowledge that you have, and what is that you can build it into the market, where not just not one or two people, but it is about hundreds of people for adapt to that and gain the kind of the fruit of those, and the benefit of that is where then you automatically become a very well successful startup or entrepreneur. I think today's generation wants to grow very fast, and they want to become rich as soon as possible. But I think that's not something that happens in a kind of a segment which is such a highly technical domain. You have to prove yourself, show them what you are capable of, and you are trying to compete with other technologies which are also trying to deliver some kind of value into the market. So how you push it forward, how you bring value to the customer, work with them closely, and deliver it and keep delivering it better and better is it takes a while, but I think this journey will pay off in the long term, and I'm sure that you will be there forever for a customer to be in the domain.
Okay. Uh, okay, sir. We are completed with our questions. If you have anything in your mind you want to share from our platform, please. Uh, I might have left any question. You have something in your mind to say. Please share.
I think you pretty much touched upon every point aspects
Okay.
of
Thank you.
this stuff. I think I don't have anything much to say about it, but I only say the industry is right at the moment which people have to focus and try to look at it. And I think there's so much talent which is available in this country, and not to say that we don't have that. At this any point of time, there is nothing which is plenty. Everything is in the shortfall. So I think building within that limited resources and growing is always going to be a challenge. And challenge is where you bring winners. And I believe I think that's the motivation that I can tell you, saying that everybody works with limited resources and trying to grow within that and build on top of it is going to build the entire ecosystem and the nation. And that's probably what I had to say.
Okay, sir. Thank you for your time. We really started early, and even your day started so early for us. I mean, we were so busy over weeks, continuously traveling and working. So, thank you for
Really,
almost hour long
really,
time for us.
yeah, unfortunately, I had very unscheduled programs that I had to catch up with. So I kept on postponing this stuff. I'm really,
So,
I
okay,
should really
finally it happened, and
thank you for your patience and trying to wait for this to happen. I really should thank you for that and putting me on this.
oh, I'm a very patient person when it comes about knowledge, and if I have a small 1% chance to learn something, I will stick there, stick there for long, because I have in my mind I have to know it, then I will go back. So I will stick there, and
That is the key, right? I mean, that's the persistence is the key
yeah,
for
I'm a very
anything.
persistent person regarding that.
Very nice.
One
Yeah,
life, one chance. I think in that way. One life, one chance. Life doesn't give you me chance many times. So I'm getting a chance to learn something from you. It's a worthy conversation. Then I will be patient for that. Because you are busy, so busy, always traveling, dealing with the customers, and now it's even busy because this growing ecosystem. Good days for us. So obviously.
absolutely. Very, very positive. I think there's nothing to lose hope. Please look where your opportunity is, and I'm sure that everybody has an opportunity in this domain. I think it's only to explore what they need to do and what they need to do. That's it. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Thank
Okay,
you.
sir. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. And we will conclude our session here. Thank you, viewers, for staying with us up to this point. Uh, don't forget to follow Tech Simplified TV, and don't forget to watch our episodes in TSP. We will be back with another exciting episode. Till then, bye. And thank you, sir. Thank you for accepting our invitation and spending such a long time with us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, and I hope. Thank you very much. Again, thank you again for us to put me on the show. Thank you very much.
Oh,
Bye then.
bye. Bye, sir. Bye, everyone.